Jumpstart your weekend, because The View is live. Damage control? The president's former attorney, Michael Cohen, admits to lying about his contact with Russia. Is that why Trump canceled his meeting with Putin? And Abby's daughter, Isabel, is celebrating her first birthday with Mom, Dad, and the ladies of The View. And Feel Good Friday on View Your Deal. Let's get this party started with Whoopi, Abby Huntsman, Joy Behar, Sunny Hostin, Meghan McCain, and Anna Navarro. Now, let's get things started.
Okay, thank you for coming, everybody, and welcome to The View.
20 years in one day for you, Joy.
20 years in one day, yes. It's enough already.
Yeah.
Enough already.
Well, I have something to say.
What?
So, you know, Joy celebrated 20 years, and she is one of our fearless leaders. We adore her. But someone else doesn't seem to adore her the way we do.
Gee, I wonder who that could
we
be.
have a clip, I believe.
Where should I start?
You know, the division in the country right now, that it's so hard for people just to get past that we can disagree and still be cordial with one another. People need to calm down, get a little less politically correct. And I would say, you know, love everybody except, I'd say, screw that Joy Behar bitch. Everybody.
You cannot say that.
I mean, lady.
We apologize for that.
Hey, we all love this country, and, you know, let's have different ideas, but try to move forward and be more together and realize at the end of the day, we're all Americans.
So what did he call me?
Now, you know.
Did he say to call me a bitch?
Yes. And you come for one of us. You came for all of us, Kid Rock.
This bitch and these bitches will be happy to have you on the show and have a beer. Let me tell you this, though.
That's right. Come on Monday, Kid Rock.
Yeah, I'm happy to have, hash it out with him, but he's going to have to do better than beer with me. Okay? If he's going to call you a bitch, the least he can do is show up here with Blue Label. If not, I don't want anything.
Yeah, a little whiskey, a little bourbon, a little champagne.
I thought Steve Doocy handled, that's a show I used to anchor, and I thought the way he handled it right in that moment to apologize and to admit that, like, this should not be said. I've been in those moments where someone called President Obama, former president, a racist on the air. And you have to react in those moments because that doesn't represent who you are.
Right.
And so it's important to point out that they handled it well.
They did.
But
what is it about me that he feels the need to say that, though? Who am I?
We need to get him on and ask him
I'm just
that.
a comedian on a show. Why doesn't he go after the big
You're
shots?
a very powerful
Why me?
voice. You're a very powerful voice
apparently.
in this country.
Who knew?
But I want to say first, I don't agree with calling any woman a bitch for having a political opinion. People do it to me all the time. I don't agree with that. I will say that what surprised me about Bob, which is his real name, doing this, is, and I feel like
Kid Rock's real name is Bob?
Yeah, and I know that. Bob Ritchie.
That's not fun.
But what I will say
about
is
Bob?
I have had many interactions with him because he performed at Buffalo Chip in South Dakota at the Sturgis biker rally, introing my parents. He's a big Republican. He actually did something with Sean Penn where he was talking about bringing the country together. So this is very off tone for where he's been, and I'm very surprised by it. I agree. You come for one of us. You come for all of us at this table, hands down. I love you, Joy. You know that. Thanks for looking up when I say that. Really appreciate it. You know what? I'm done, actually. I'm defending you.
You don't want beer,
You know what?
I would have a beer. I don't think it's appropriate what he said, but
It's not.
I don't. I don't.
Listen, I'm having a difficult week. Too much attention on me. Yesterday it was a whole big thing. Today it's another. I can't take it.
You know something? But also, I want to say,
Possibly be having a difficult week. I mean, Robert Mueller and Michael Cohen gave you the best 20th anniversary gift that you've gotten.
very true. Okay, let's talk about that. So, and you know what? Thank you, Megan. I appreciate that.
I wish that he would practice what he preaches, as we all should practice what we preach, coming together because we are all ultimately Americans.
You know what's great? Fox had to apologize for something.
They did.
And with your name in it.
Yeah, that's right.
And that should be your 20th anniversary gift, Fox having to apologize to you.
Well, between that and on the heels of Michael Cohen's bombshell testimony that he lied about his contact with Russia and reports that Putin was offered listen to this, he was offered a $50 million penthouse at a proposed Trump Tower in Moscow. Donald was up early tweeting that he, quote, lightly looked, unquote, at building in Russia while campaigning, which was very legal, quote, unquote, and very cool, quote, unquote. Could this this be the way why Trump is canceling his meeting with Putin at the G20 summit? He doesn't like the optics of being seen with Putin in this particular milieu right now? What do you say?
I think it's all about optics. I think it's all about perception. I also think it tells you that he's legitimately worried and taking it seriously, because despite all of the allegations and all of the charges that American intelligence has said Russia interfered in the elections, he didn't cancel previous meetings. He had alone time with him in Helsinki just, a few months ago. So we're seeing a completely
I actually disagree with you on that, though, Anna. I think if you look at the substance of the policy under the Trump administration when you're dealing with Putin and Russia, you could argue they've been tougher than any administration since the Cold War. So you can talk about the optics, you can talk about his tweets, which I actually hated that he tweeted canceling this meeting, because that's not how you handle diplomacy. But no one ever talks about the actual issues and what's being done to combat Russia, because that's not the shiny object. No one cares about that. No one gives the president credit for anything that he does right.
But isn't he?
That's what
Wait a second. Let me ask you something. Because of his relationship with Putin, and now that we know that he was, while he's saying America first, he's making deals with Russia. By the way, isn't he compromised a little bit with Russia now? How can he now, have diplomacy with Russia? They have him in their pocket.
But this relationship...
So it doesn't really work. You follow my point?
But he's not the only one doing diplomacy, though. I can tell you a number of people that are actually in meetings that are making these decisions.
Because this didn't just happen in a vacuum. I mean, President Obama met with Putin 6 months after taking office in Moscow. He said, Obama talked of the extraordinary work you've done, Putin, on behalf of the Russian people. President Bush said, I looked at the man in the eyes. I found him to be very straightforward. I was able to get a sense of his soul. This is something that has been building and building over administrations. Bill Clinton talked about the congenial, easygoing relationship he had with Putin. This is something that's been building and building and normalizing.
They weren't making deals.
The difference is that...
But those are two different things.
But the difference between that...
We talk about why the meeting was canceled. It just strikes me as odd that Michael Cohen, this bombshell, gets dropped about not how only Trump was involved with Russia and building this tower. His children were also notified about it. And Ivanka is part of that as well. Now he is saying the reason he's the Trump Tower meeting, not the Trump, well, there are two,
I'm sorry, Trump Jr. meeting with the spy.
With the spy, and then there's also a building of the tower in Moscow. But now he's saying the reason he's not meeting with Putin is because he's upset because they haven't returned the Navy sailors to the Ukraine. When was he concerned about the Ukraine?
Really?
Look, that's
really,
new.
Sunny? Really, Sunny?
About Trump.
Trump has actually been tougher on Ukraine than President Obama was. The first thing he did with Russia when he got into office was arm the Ukrainians and put sanctions on Russia as it relates to Ukraine.
But listen, Abby,
guys, the point I'm trying to make, if you want to talk about the Mueller investigation, let's have that talk and the dealings that Trump had with Russians before he got into office. But if you want to talk about actual diplomacy and things that are happening with Russia, that is a very different thing. I would love for this table, not Megan
so
because she's different,
you really believe that's why he canceled that meeting? You believe he canceled the meeting because he's so concerned about the Ukrainian soldiers?
I can tell you, because I talked to my dad who lives in Moscow and deals with this every single day, that they were already figuring this out before he decided to cancel it. They were already making that decision. So what drives me nuts are cable pundits that think they know everything about what's going on behind closed doors in diplomacy and come out on television and give facts that are actually inaccurate. When I'm actually talking to people that are in those discussions and know what's going on.
Listen, Abby, your dad was not in the alone time that Trump had with Putin in Helsinki. Nobody was. Anna, it was Trump, Putin, and some translators. I don't know if he was a translator. Maybe he was. I don't know if he speaks Russian.
I will not defend what happened at press conference.
Well,
I was one of the first to tweet
let me
out.
Just get, you've spoken a lot. Let me just say one thing. I think what bothers a lot of Americans is the fact that something that happened in 2016, which had not happened before, and there were a lot of people, including your father, who were very upset with those meetings with Putin. And I remember your father saying, when I looked into Putin's eyes, I didn't see his soul. I saw KGB. And he was right then, and he was right continuously. But what a lot of people are upset about right now that had not happened then is the fact that they interfered in our elections.
And
if you need more proof of that, Anna, look at everything that Mueller is doing right now.
Let me ask you this. Okay, Anna, let me ask you this.
Let me finish.
Tell me what Obama did. Tell me what Obama Obama did.
And do you remember when Obama met with the guy and said, after the elections, I'm going to have more flexibility, and every Republican set their hair on fire, rightly so?
I did that. I mean, I'm just saying that
we all did.
But didn't Obama also impose sanctions on Russia, which crippled their economy, and that's one of the reasons why Trump Jr. had that meeting?
The Magnitsky Act happened because of my father. It had nothing to do with Obama, and let's keep that very straight.
But he did impose sanctions as well.
I'm sorry, but the normalizing of what happened with Putin happened under Democrats' watch as well. Abby's 100% right on it. Nobody has cared about Putin until all the human rights violations, the annexing of Crimea, everything in the Ukraine, nobody cared until the elections. So don't tell me this isn't political.
Because the elections are a bastion of our democracy, and coming after our elections,
human rights should be as well.
Is an attack on our national security.
The torturing of a... you don't care about Sergei Magnitsky being tortured and killed for being someone who sounded the alarm?
Ladies, but you're asking
to take
what
a
is
break.
different now.
Beers for everyone. We'll be right back.
Later, sending regrets. How far have the co-hosts gone to get out of an invite? And have they ever gotten caught lying? Unthinkable.
Steve Scalise has been shot.
And his grit and toughness did what no one's been able to do. Bring Republicans and Democrats together. Now, Steve Scalise hits the political view for the first time. And
on a totally different note,
Howie Mandel, Kerry Washington, and Ruben and Clay light things up with holiday cheer. All next week on The View.
Peppermint mochas for Leah?
Still ahead, Abby's daughter Isabel is celebrating her first birthday on The View. And Feel Good Friday on View Your Deal.
So now I want to say something nice about Trump, because he may be dealing with a lot of potential scandals right now, but it looks like something good is coming out of this for him. Now, I want you to pay attention here. Look how his wife Melania used to react to her hubby's affection. You see that? She used to push it, okay? And then, okay, now, look. Watch. Wait. So now check them out yesterday, how they were acting. Watch how the difference is. Look at this. Is this beautiful or what?
I mean...
Look. They're holding hands. She looks gorgeous as usual. The woman that never has a bad day. And there was another shot of them, which they didn't put in here, where she puts her hand on his back.
I saw that. She patted his back.
She pats his back.
They're like deeply in love right now.
Yes. Why? Why is there a change?
Well, look, everybody that's been in long-term relationships has ups and downs in a relationship. And let me tell you something else. Girl, you try going down Air Force One steps and 6-inch stilettos, you're going to be holding on to anything, too.
No, but she's gone down before by herself.
But she didn't have to pat him on the back. Like, I saw, like, an infatuation. I mean, I'm a hopeless romantic, but, I mean, I was like, wow.
I don't envy anyone's relationship in the public eye. Can you imagine? I mean, we have public personas here on the show, but people aren't watching us leave our homes every day with our husbands.
Yeah, but don't you think,
to your point, there are days where, like, I'm so pissed at my husband, I wouldn't hold his hand if he begged me.
You know what I really think? I really think if anybody who's been married knows that when your husband is sick, you love him even more. Am I right? When the guy is down, you feel bad. And when you're sick, you love him even more than that.
Yeah.
But listen, remember
I think that she's feeling his pain.
But also...
And it's coming to him.
Let's put it in context.
That's great.
A few months ago...
he's feeling threatened and scared, and he's going to his wife.
Also, Stormy Daniels' story is now months old, not days old. Look, that woman was publicly embarrassed in front of the whole world by this man, and those stories, time has gone by. She's, obviously it's less raw than it was before. Listen, remember when Hillary and Bill Clinton came out in the lawn after we found out about Monica?
They were not holding hands.
They were not holding hands.
Chelsea was between them.
That's right.
But this is a different relationship
Something
dynamic.
Has shifted, right, Megan? You're nodding your head. You agree?
I don't know what to say about this. I don't care. I'm so sorry. The worst part. Thank you. I'm so sorry. The hands down worst part about this job by far, and it was one of the topics we were going to do, is that I cannot fake anything. You always know how I feel. If I'm interested, I will be very engaged. If I'm bored, I'm sitting here like, okay, like she's holding my hand. Fascinating, scintillating morning conversation for everyone.
Listen, Abby said in the last segment...
You fake it better than I do, Abby. Thank you.
I mean,
I'm so bored by it.
Abby said in the last...
You're bored by love?
I think their relationship is their own, and I'm much more interested in what we were talking about in the last
segment.
Fine.
Well, one of the things that was said in the last segment is that
I'm sorry, I should be able to make it better. I should. I'm sorry.
Leave your bedroom out of this.
No, I'm actually.
She's kidding.
It's a joke, Megan.
George, we never get any insight from Megan.
But you said last time we never say anything good about this guy. Well, that's why I brought this up, because I thought it was a nice
more
story.
of a sarcastic.
I can't get a break around here. All right, Meghan Markle, the lovely, talented Meghan Markle, I think she's a beauty. She says that she can't make the trip to India for Priyanka Chopra and Nick Jonas's wedding since she's pregnant. But she was traveling all over Australia and New Zealand just a few weeks ago, just saying. So you think she's trying to get out of going or what? And how do you get out of an event like that?
Well, listen,
anyway?
if you're 5 months pregnant on my wedding, you can get out of going.
Yeah.
Other than that, you're not forgiven.
Really?
The one wedding I wanted to go to was Megan's, and I literally delivered Isabel 4 days after your wedding. I would have been there any other time of the year, and you know that. And I hate weddings. I don't.
What?
No, I always find excuses because it's usually a location you don't really want to go to. The whole time you're spending talking to people you don't want to talk
wedding
to.
crasher. I love weddings. Everything's so hopeful, and they're so in love. They don't really know what's gonna happen. How difficult it is.
Danger zone.
Oh, I love it, you know.
Anna's getting married. Anna's getting married in March.
Yeah.
And we're going to the wedding.
Yeah, and you better not be pregnant. Not me.
Or me. I'm going to a wedding tomorrow. My former assistant who became a big producer, Jordana Kalmanowicz, is getting married tomorrow. Congratulations, Jordana.
Wow.
We'll be right back. Your interpretation?
I like sparring with Joy because I know she isn't going to get angry with me.
What do you think?
I think it's very healthy to have debates with Joy, to have Republicans having debates with Joy, particularly this Republican. I'm a little disappointed with the congressional Republicans.
She's kidding. She's a comedian.
Who are not, no, I totally do.
The thing with O'Reilly was very unusual. I have not walked off on shows. I don't do that. But that particular day, he was really, really being an
You agree with it.
No, we're Americans. I'm an American.
Look, let me break this to you.
And he was just saying things that were completely not true. And he wouldn't really let you argue with him.
What are you killed us on 9/11.
Oh, my God. And I suddenly felt my body rising from my chair. It was like not a conscious thing. I almost felt like I can't sit here. And I just walked off, and Whoopi, and I said, "Come on, Whoopi," and she followed me, and we left.
Joy's going to tell it like it is, and she's going to tell the truth. And if you don't like it, fine, but you know it's going to be her truth.
How about a mime is my ideal lover? A mime.
With Joy, you're getting the real person. She tells the story of her life through the show, warts and all.
My father totally ignored me, so...
And that's why she's had such an incredible career on the program.
When I was young and I was a virgin, I wanted to make it special. It wasn't that friggin' special.
She's smart. She's easy on the eyes. She carries a bold lip like no one I've ever seen.
I can disagree with Megan. It doesn't mean I want to sleep with her.
That's the thing. Yeah.
She allows us to know that we can be our honest, authentic, funny, smart people. Joy has certainly moved the needle on feminism by being herself, by being on camera, by representing honesty. She has been very much part of the advance.
For me, she's been an amazing role model. She's like the Joan of Arc and Spanx, you know?
I see her as this woman who's just fierce.
She's very funny. She is a comedian first.
Joy is the only woman that I kiss where I could have gone back for more. Very soft lips, very come hither.
She's just always been supportive. Like, I don't think she's ever called me Toots, but I feel like she's called me Toots. Does that make sense at all?
Welcome back. 20 years did not go by that fast. Now, usually when you're enjoying yourself, which I have been, it goes by like that. This one didn't. Why is that? I've met presidents, movie stars, musicians. I've sung songs with Carly Simon. I've met all these people, and That's why it didn't go by that fast. It's incredible, really, and I'm very thankful for that. Have a good weekend. Take a little time to enjoy the view. Bye. It's a wrap.
Thank you, Joy.
Goodbye. That's something. I have to thank Robin Hummel. She's like the Ken Burns of the View.
Good.
That was like a documentary. And it's interesting that I met all those people that have been here. It's true. What I said, it didn't go by fast. It went by. The last 20 years feel like 40 years for some reason. Wow. Is that good or bad?
Because it's been interesting.
Depending on the day.
Yeah.
Some days it goes by way too fast, and sometimes it crawls.
I remember during my 20s when I had nothing going on. You know, I was just married. And I'd have a little job or something, and I'd come home, and those years went by fast because there was nothing in the day.
Yeah.
So the secret to aging, I think, and being happy is that you fill the days up with a lot of stuff that you love.
Yeah.
And then you're okay. Otherwise, it feels like, you know.
And I know you're being deep and truthful right now because you think it's done.
It's not done? That's
we have
enough.
A lot more celebrating for Madame Behar when we come back.
Two of TV's biggest legends and friends of Joy are springing one historic surprise on her right after this. Need more joy in your life? Search The View on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast app to hear Joy really spill the tea about 20 years at The View.
I said, get up and say, I am not a crook. Do it like this. I am not a crook. Come on. And he laughed. He thought it was funny. I get away with murder. I was thinking the other day how The View is the perfect job for me, besides the proximity to my home. Every job I had, including when I was a receptionist at Good Morning America, I used to have lesbian hour at my desk, and all the women would gather around. When I was a teacher, I would carry on in the teacher's room. My life is spent in the cafeteria, basically, and the View table is kind of like that. So it's a perfect job for me.
That's right. Wow. So we want to make sure you keep the conversation going on camera and also for many years. So we have a surprise for you. Joining us right now at one of your favorite New York City haunts, Cafe Fiorello. Our TV legends and your pals, Regis Philbin and Alan Alda. Hi, Alan.
Are they here now?
Yeah, they're there right now. Gentlemen, why are you there?
We're here to celebrate Joy's 20th anniversary on the show. Isn't that great?
Absolutely. It has been great. Do we have to have more, though?
You have to have more.
That's enough.
I agree. You're right about that.
Joy, listen to this. This is amazing. This is going to be, we're here to present you with the greatest honor of your career. We have plaques at booths, Regis and I both, because we're very important people. We have plaques on the booths in this restaurant. We're awarding you your own plaque right on the wall. This table reserved for Joy Behar. Right over there. Isn't that great? And Joy, listen, you're going to love this. You're going to love this because your plaque is right next to Donald Trump's.
Oh, my gosh.
No, it's not.
You know, it's nice. It's really smart. So it's so good that you changed your name to Joy Behar because Josefina Occhiuto wouldn't fit on the plaque.
I never heard that name before tonight.
Yeah. My name used to be Alfonso d'Abruzzo. I had to change it or I wouldn't get into the restaurant.
I'm still Regis Philbin. Nobody cares.
Where's your plaque?
My plaque? It's right over here.
In his teeth.
Right over here. Isn't it?
Oh,
that's pretty
Where
good.
is it? Where is it?
The man can't find his
No,
own
it's
plaque.
over there.
How the great have fallen.
Why are we sitting here? Should be over there.
Here for
Are there
her.
any blacks with plaques?
These two have.
people care.
These two also suffer from tremendous longevity. I must point out. They have been in the business for way longer than me. Even. I mean, Alan was a pup in vaudeville. Regis was a pup with Kathy Lee. I mean, it's been the two of them go on and on and on.
Thank God.
So thank you,
Regis
guys.
himself, you've only got 20 years on The View. Regis has 157 years on television.
That's right.
And great every
And nobody cares.
Regis, we care.
Listen, guys, order me the veal parmesan and the wedding soup at Fiorella's. I'll see you later.
Thanks to Alan Alda and Regis Philbin.
Come on over and have lunch with us.
Also, thank you. Congratulations, Joy, once again being in the Big 2-0.
They're still there. He's still talking.
Yeah, they're still talking. But as Regis says, who cares? We'll be right back.
The stars of one of Joy's TV obsessions, the marvelous Mrs. Maisel, Rachel Brosnahan, and Tony Shalhoub, next. To most, he's fit. World comes to ABC with performances by Halsey, Shawn Mendes, The Chainsmokers, and more. The Victoria's Secret Fashion Show Holiday Special, Sunday 10/9 Central on ABC.
Emmy winners Rachel Brosnahan and Tony Shalhoub are back for a second season on one of our favorite shows around here, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, about a stay-at-home mom who becomes a stand-up comedian. Please welcome Rachel Brosnahan and Tony Shalhoub. Okay. Great to have you here, both of you. We love the show. Everyone loves the show. You're winning all sorts of awards. And Rachel, you play a woman who basically was a housewife in the 50s.
Yeah.
Who, by circumstances, becomes a stand-up comic. Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Well, I wasn't a housewife, but it's a similar story to mine. I wonder how you, I wonder why divorced women suddenly become comedians. I mean, I don't, but, so what did you learn about stand-up?
What did I learn?
Yeah, what did you learn from doing the role?
Well, I learned that I can't claim to be a stand-up, so forgive me, my voice is completely gone. I sound like I've been smoking since I came out of the womb. But I learned that I could never do what you do, mostly.
Well, it's different. Yours is an acting job.
Yeah, that's
stand-up is different. But, so that's the only thing you learned?
Well, I'm learning about interacting with audiences and how to perform great material.
Well, were you in touch with the fear factor of being a stand-up?
Absolutely. I am terrified every single second I am up on that stage. It never gets easier. What about you? Are you still scared?
Well, yeah, no, I don't even want to do it. I'm so scared.
Yeah.
I get it. Joy, do you have any advice for her? You're the expert.
Yeah, please.
Well, she's a comedic actress.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the stuff is written for you, so you can put the responsibility on the writers. Then if you don't get a laugh, I didn't write this.
Great.
The comedians can't do that.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's a little different. So it's okay. You're doing a great job. You're fabulous in the role.
Tony.
Hello. I have a voice today.
You have a voice. I'm between the two of you. I kind of have a voice and then not. But now you play Rachel's dad, Abe, and we were all kids during this period. Not you guys weren't kids, but we were all kids during this period that the show takes place. Do the clothes bring the character for you?
They really do. And we have a brilliant costume designer. Well, as is evident by all of Rachel's clothes and hats and accessories. But for me, it's that sort of layered thing. It's it's the shirt and the sweater vest and then the sport coat and the coat and I don't know. I put on this costume. I feel like I'm sort of channeling my father and my uncles and especially the hats and that whole thing. It just really brings me back.
Don't you wonder, though, why no one seemed to... When I was a kid, nobody seemed to sweat. And when I realized
all the clothes they were wearing.
The women had on the girdles and the stockings and the things and the slips and nobody ever broke a sweat.
They didn't drink any water.
No.
You couldn't pee in all those layers.
No, because you couldn't get it down quick enough.
Yeah, exactly.
You couldn't get those girdles up. But I just find it extraordinary. Well, you don't know about this, but you actually.
No, but that's why I love the show.
Yes.
Because I've learned so much about that time in history. One of my favorite scenes is when you go to bed at night next to your husband and you are full makeup. Yeah. And the minute he goes to sleep, it's like a routine. You do this every night. You run to the bathroom, you take it off, put the lotion on, the mask, fall asleep, and before he gets up, you set your alarm, put the whole face on again, so he never sees you without the full face on.
I actually do that in my marriage. My wife would have left me a long time.
Do you know anybody who does that? I've never heard of this.
I do.
You know, I do.
Really?
Yeah, I know several women
That is
that
crazy.
That makes me sad.
But the story was, when it was written and then when the pilot aired, about a woman finding her voice and finding her independence was really before this year took off about women equality and the Time's Up and the Me Too and all that. What are you hearing from women, fans of the show, about your character?
It's been amazing to hear how many different ways people connect to it. But the biggest thing I'm hearing is that people are feeling empowered, that people are feeling inspired to take risks, to try something new, to find out how they might use their voices. There's been a handful of young women who have said that they tried their hand at stand-up comedy for the first time after watching the show.
My sister did.
What? That's
after watching the show, really?
She loves the show. Now she thinks she has a career for herself. We'll see. She's
it's you're giving them a role model. I mean, when I was a young comedian, I had Joan Rivers, but when I was a kid in the 50s, there was nobody really, no women were doing it, maybe one. So, who?
Well, Phyllis was doing it.
In the 50s?
In the 50s, yeah. Phyllis was doing it, and
Toady Field.
Toady Field.
Yeah,
Moms Mabley.
Moms Mabley was doing
Moms,
it.
and then there was a woman named Jean Carroll who used to do it. And she was more in your style. She just was pretty and put together nicely and just would be funny. And I thought, well, maybe you can just do it like that. Everybody else had a gimmick.
Originally, when I first read the pilot, I thought that Midge was based on Jean Carroll.
Oh, really? No kidding.
It's interesting that she's playing a woman who's found her voice and she has no voice. You got to
I'm letting everyone else talk for the first time.
Congratulations on the Tony.
Oh, thank you.
Tony.
For the musical The Band's Visit. Now, you used part of your acceptance speech, I love this, to celebrate immigrants. You talked about your dad and why it was important for you to talk about these things. Why there, why then?
At the Tonys, you mean? Yeah, well, my dad, came over in 1920, through Ellis Island, and I visited, of course, Ellis Island. I think everyone should visit that museum. It's extraordinary and very moving. And I just felt like this is just a little bit of a time jump. How many, nearly 100 years, but in the scheme of things, the blink of an eye. Here they are coming over. Basically, they were all orphans, had lost their parents, and all of this hope and all of this promise, that they carried with them. And then here I was, and it just felt like I could never. How did I get to this place? Well, on the shoulders of many brave, adventurous, and savvy people.
Reminds you of what's going on at the border today a little bit, doesn't it?
And it's so
people
it's so
trying to come in and may have a life for themselves and flee terrible things in their own countries. And we have to be proud of America again, I hope.
Yeah, and tell those stories. They're beautiful stories, and how so many of us got here.
Well, it's American.
It's America.
For most of us. Some people began here, and then some were kind of brought over here, didn't tell us where we were going. But as it turns out, we're all here together, right? This is the American story. This table tells you everything.
That's true.
But I just stepped on your question. I'm sorry.
Well, I have to go anyway. We're out of time.
We love you guys, though. We love the show.
Continued success with that wonderful show. Our thanks to Rachel Brosnahan. Okay, and Tony Shalhoub. Season 2 of The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel will be of the kids. Will be streaming on Amazon.
You want me to take
Prime Video on Wednesday, December 5th, and we'll be right back.
So, Joy, much Much like Jerry Springer, do you have any final thoughts?
Well, I'd just like to thank everybody for being so nice and the audience for coming. Yeah. And, you know, I said thank you to them. Thank you.
So let us raise our glass to Joy Behar.
Oh, thank you all. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Cheers to Joy.
Salud. Here's to many more. Here's to many more. To everybody, let this table tell you that everything you see here is actually possible. You can be friends. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the view.
So who here is not satisfied with their Medicare plan? Who's shopping for a new plan this year?